What's your thoughts on government cover-ups or covert societies attempting to control humanity? Do you believe in ancient astronauts, intergalactic communication, or extraterrestrial visitations? Ever had an experience with disembodied spirits or the paranormal universe? Are these subjects fact or fiction? Each week, Tony and Eddie explore these unbelievable realities and beyond. Exclusively on Truth Be Told.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Truth Be Told, where we believe and experience becomes truth. I'm your host, Tony Sweet, and joining me now in studio, your one and only psychic world-renowned Eddie Connor and the handsome man, Walt Lusk. Thank you for supporting our sponsors, Earth Friendly Products, for over 40 years and considered one of the healthiest companies in America.
Earth Friendly Products creates products for home and personal use that are derived from replenishable resources. They pledge to provide their customers with products that will provide efficacy, value, and are environmentally responsible. Go to Ecos, that's ECOS.com, for more information on where to buy their product.
You can also easily pick up many of our guest book at adventuresunlimitedpress.com, where books can bring answers and a new passion for knowledge.
In this hour, we bring you what is up to date on sightings, abductions, and encounters with UFOs. That happens on a daily basis with the Director of Communications with MUFON, that's Mutual UFO Network. We have Roger Marsh on the show.
Roger Marsh is a UFO writer, producing daily UFO traffic reports for the Mutual UFO Network, also known as MUFON. He is also MUFON's Director of Communications and the editor of their monthly journal. Roger is a former acquisitions editor for McGraw-Hill Professional Books and was Senior Acquisitions Editor for Consumer Guide and Publications International. Roger developed hundreds of new books and magazines into domestic and international markets. His UFO writing can be seen at MUFON.com, OpenMinds.tv, and, of course, the Huffington Post. Please welcome Roger Marsh.
Roger Marsh is back.
Woo-hoo. Hey, glad to be here.
All right,
We are too.
It's always good to have Roger back. You're here with Walt and Eddie and myself, and it's always a pleasure to have you here because MUFON is one of our favorite organizations, and Hangar One is one of our favorite shows. So, all right, so
thank you.
Of course. Now, all right, so we want to get right into this because 50 minutes is going to go by really fast.
Oh.
Yeah, right. And I want to know, 2015, it's hard to believe we're already at 2015. And I know every time we talk, it seems like there's an increase in UFO activity. And is there any difference in 2015? Are we increasing or, in the United States and worldwide?
No, we're probably plugging in about the same number of cases. It kind of goes up and down, up and down. I know between, let's just say January to, let's say December to January is what last time I covered. I don't know if it was the weather or the holidays in December, but we did, domestically, we had a 45% increase in UFO reports in January as compared to December.
That's huge.
So I'm not sure I would read too much into that. We do have those kind of fluctuations going on. But as I probably said the last time I was on the show, we do continue to collect really good cases where the object is coming right down to the ground level. I think we talked about some of those last October.
Yeah. Now, yeah. I get your alerts, and if I recall, a majority of the sightings are actually here in the United States versus other parts of the world.
Well, yeah, that's because MUFON had, since 1969, we are a based operation, and so that's where most of our publicity is going. That's where most of our personnel are. But in 2014, we did take great strides to get into some other countries. So we are now, like we just named the director for Australia, for example. It seems like every month we're naming one or two new countries there,
Cool.
where we're at least getting one person in there and then letting that person develop a staff.
Cool.
Now,
So,
with
but
these...
the numbers might look skewed. There's UFO activity happening all over the world, but MUFON, even though we are a worldwide organization, we are primarily U.S.
Right. Now, we're having some of the biggest, snowstorms in history at this point. Is it likely that we will see UFOs, or not likely in this type of weather? Do you get sightings in this weather?
Boy, that's a real common question, because people have tried to study when we have, for example, tornadic activity,
Right.
hurricanes. I'm just guessing that people are just curious if whoever's operating the UFOs, if they just have this curiosity with the weather. I really don't see any uses. When you hear huge snow happening, get the report team these lows, but I'm really seeing them right now. No.
Well, and Tony, I'm going to piggyback on. I was going to ask a question very similar, and that is: have you noticed by chance, Roger, that because of this type of weather, there's thousands and thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of flights that have been canceled for, in certain parts of the world for a long time?
Commercial airlines.
Yeah. So with the commercial airlines not up and about as much as normal, would that play a little part in maybe spotting stuff that we normally wouldn't see because there's 100 million planes in the air?
Oh, okay. You mean, are you trying to suggest that we would have a drop in UFO sightings because we don't have as many people airborne?
No, maybe better sightings.
Yeah, no, I was not implying that. I was implying because the commercial airlines are not flying right now, that we would see them more easily than we would if they were flying.
Better.
Okay. I've kind of made a joke out of that in the past that, like, when you look at how we track airline traffic, you could look at they have these neat maps online where you could see all the air traffic, and we have our routes. So you're saying, I guess, if there's a storm happening in the Northeast and millions of people are being affected and hundreds of planes are being canceled, that the UFOs might take advantage of that. Air.
No, my apologies. No, that's not what I'm saying. Meaning, I'm not saying they would take advantage of the planes being down, that it would be easy for civilians on the ground to look up and go, oh, my God, is that a UFO? Instead of another Boeing 747.
Okay, because less air traffic. I don't really see that. Sure how aware the civilians on the ground would be. Where would they be if they're not flying, for example? They could look out and say, oh, it's a bad storm. And, of course, it's all over the news, the canceled air traffic. But, that's not really come up before. I've never really heard that. Because most good UFO air traffic is generally something that is seen, in some cases, it's seen by the witness at a distant location, like it's just a point of light, and then within just a matter of a split second, it moves into your airspace. So they don't move like our aircraft do. But I'm not seeing any increased sightings due to weather related.
Well, I guess it kind of makes sense because the UFOs, they don't really care.
There's an inch of snow. We can't fly into the Earth's atmosphere.
They can go through the atmosphere. They can fly through any weather, I'm sure. Okay, so I know a lot of people have been asking, and I know I'm curious, Hangar 1. Hangar 1 is coming back with season number 2. When is the big day? Because we have to mark our calendars.
Yes, they have moved it. This is History's H2. It's the programming people. They have moved it to Friday night, April 3rd.
Friday night, April 3rd. Now, why did they move it? Is it just because of better time, or?
Do you guys want the inside on why they really moved it?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, hello. We need an exclusive, Roger.
Absolutely.
The exclusive. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
The show was going to premiere in January or February. The show is so hot for season 2 that they thought there was going to be an incredible snow meltdown in the Northeast, and it would have created massive flooding and panic. So they had to move it to a spring month.
Really? I was going to say, I was like, you should have seen Eddie and Walt's face like, what?
I know. We're going to reach out to the airwaves and cut you.
Right. That was my joke. It's coming in the March journal. That's on the page of the journal, a little box at the bottom.
We smiled hard.
That's my theory as to why they moved it, because the show's too hot for the Northeast right now. But we're just assuming it's a programming decision. I would guess maybe competition, other shows popping up,
right?
And everybody's trying to, move their players around the table and get them set up correctly so they can win the game,
right?
So to speak. So I'm not involved in the programming end of it.
Well,
so
season 1, we got to see some amazing insight, what you guys have in your case files. Can you give us a sample or maybe a teaser of what we might be seeing this season?
Yeah, and this is a true exclusive.
Okay, there we
go. I don't know I don't think anybody in MUFON, I haven't heard of anybody going out and talking about what's actually coming up for season 2. And I'm holding in front of me a list.
I wish I had a drum roll.
Of the 12 episodes.
Oh.
I can't give away the exact content, but
right.
On April 3rd, you're going to get an episode called The Smoking Gun. And I don't know if any of you are familiar or your listeners are familiar with a document called, people typically refer to it as Psalm 101. And that's SOM1-01, Psalm 101. That is a top secret, supposedly a top secret special operations manual developed by the government that details protocols for recovering extraterrestrial UFOs that have crashed on the Earth.
Oh,
wow.
And somebody leaked the document, and we have a copy of it. Now, again, it's very controversial.
Is it a very long tome?
I want to say, I believe it was the January issue of our MUFON journal. Dr. Bob Wood, who is a senior board member with MUFON, he's extensively studied this document and believes it to be a true U.S. government document. And he produced a feature story for me for the journal, going sort of blow by blow how people are knocking it down. And it's just incredible, right down to, how dates are given, how people are, signing off on memos, just all these little things that if it is a fake document, somebody went to a lot of trouble to create this. So that's our season opener. We're going to get into that. Want me to just run through the 12 episodes?
Yes, please.
Sure.
Yeah, the second episode is being called Men in Black.
Ooh.
Reporting on the countless reports of UFO witnesses being intimidated into silence by these mysterious Men in Black. Then we do episode 3, it's called Star People.
Yay.
Hangar 1 files are full of stories involving Native Americans and their familiarity with alien beings. I did recommend cases for that episode, and one of them is, my favorite episode involving a Native American tribe and an object that landed on their land. And there was a family, it was a husband, wife, and granddaughter who were home at the time, and their experience is told. So I'll give away one piece of that one. The next episode is called Hunted by UFOs. Our Hangar 1 files contain hundreds of case files from people who have been pursued and hunted by UFOs,
Oh, wow.
some even multiple times.
Yeah.
And then one very popular subject, UFOs in the Abyss, that's about underwater UFOs.
Yeah.
Very interesting. And then UFOs at war. Very interesting instances of wars throughout history where one thing is common in all wars: multiple UFOs over battlegrounds.
Wasn't there one
They
over
don't like
Germany?
our weather, but they like our battles, apparently.
Yeah, I remember there was a battle actually between UFOs, I believe, over Germany, wasn't there, at one time?
Not familiar with that one off the top of my head.
Maybe I was a dream I had. All right, continue.
Okay, there was the Battle of L.A. though.
Oh yes, I remember that. I do.
And then we have an episode called Cops versus UFOs. So this will be cases involving police officers, and I actually have one example of that to bring to you guys tonight. And then UFO superpowers, really interesting episode, where MUFON has turned up evidence of amazing otherworldly technological powers like tractor beams, teleportation, and invisibility. So we kind of research cases that involve just all kinds of weird superpower-looking things. Then we go to Aliens in Captivity, where Hangar 1 uncovers shocking evidence that the government has been recovering not only advanced technology from crashed UFOs, but alien bodies as well.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And then an episode called Extreme Close Encounters. This I had a lot to do with this episode. Deep within MUFON files are thousands of extraordinary unknown UFO cases that fall into the category of high strangeness, closest type of encounters on record, involving UFO sightings within just a few hundred feet.
Oh.
That's kind of one of my main research areas. We do an episode called UFOs over Texas. They just picked like one of our hottest states in the Union. And it's all really good Texas cases. And then we close the season out with Far Side of the Moon.
Oh, yes.
Hangar 1 files reveal top secret evidence that indicates the government has been operating bases on the Moon and Mars.
We had the opportunity to interview Mike Barra, and yeah, very
nice
interesting.
guy.
Yeah, very interesting. This is great stuff. I can't wait. This is going to be some awesome season.
Man.
No.
This is cool.
All right, so April 3rd.
Yep.
April 3rd.
April 3rd.
H2. Now, you guys make sure you go to MUFON.com, but to, I'm sure, find out more information about all this stuff. But go to H2. I don't know if is it just H2.com? You can check out.
Yeah, I'm actually not sure. I have a computer right in front of me now, but
I can look it up.
It's all good.
Well,
we can see.
Well,
I've gone there and I never really looked at what do they actually call it, but I know it's a branch of the History Channel, which they call H2.
Right, which I love. It has become one of my favorites, actually. H2. I think it's just historychannel.com /shows
H2.
/H2. So there you go. Okay, well, this is going to lead into a question where I'm sure this is going to be enjoyable for all of us. Is some of your favorite sightings, since you say this is kind of your specialty, some of your favorite sightings that you have researched or has been reported? I'm curious to hear some of your.
Yeah, get your take.
Could be fun. It could be mysterious. It could be a little scary. What do you got for us?
Oh, they're all scary.
Oh,
Well, I decided to pick 4 of them tonight.
okay.
Where 2 of them are kind of similar and the other 2 are similar. But the first 2 cases, one just happened, and then I matched it with a case from 2014. So the first case, this just happened in Ada, Oklahoma. Ada, Oklahoma. It happened at 9:32 p.m. on Friday, February the 13th.
Wow.
Very short time ago. We have a dad who's home, and it sounds like he's got some acreage there. They have like a 300-foot long driveway, and the father looks out and he sees the son kind of pulling into the property, but he stops by the front gates. and he seems to be out there for about 5 or 10 minutes. The dad doesn't think too much of it because the son is into like deer spotting and things like that. Finally, the son comes into the house. He says, "Dad, you know, you got to get out here and look at this." And it's not one, but it's two objects. And here I'll read a quote. Once they went outside, the father's actually filing the report, and he said that his son pointed to the south of the house, and about 300 yards or so away were two objects. One, a diamond-shaped object about 300 or so feet above the ground, and the other, a thick donut-shaped object about 150 feet up.
Oh, wow.
And this was, and that object was sitting about 100 feet west of the diamond-shaped object. Now, both of these objects were a dull orange color, although the diamond-shaped object seemed to sparkle while the donut remained a dull orange the entire time we observed it. So Dad runs back inside to get binoculars. They go back outside again, and the larger object starts to move away. And they're watching this thing, and the larger object slowly is moving toward the east. It goes behind some trees. They move to a different location, to try to catch up to the object. And here I'll quote the father. He says, "As it moved across the road, it started to rise. By the time it had crossed the road, it was maybe 700 to 800 feet up.
Wow.
It sat there maybe 10 minutes or so. At this point, we noticed a plane maybe 5 miles or so east of the house moving north to south, and it was at this time we noticed we could hear the plane, but there was absolutely no noise coming from either objects. But eventually, this larger object just finally moved up to about 1,000 feet, and then boom, kind of moved off. They went back and they looked at the smaller object which had never moved the entire time, and it just finally, as they were looking at it, it just disappeared, like in place.
Wow.
Cloaked.
That is currently under investigation by Oklahoma MUFON, and I'm on the edge of my seat on that one.
That would be
because
too.
I just, it's my favorite when the objects get under 500 feet. And I think I gave you an image, I think of just Ada, Oklahoma from Google, just to give people a sense of what the territory looks like.
Yeah, I'm showing it right now.
But now, if we could look at a second case, and I'm bringing this one up because it's kind of related, and we've got some really cool illustrations that go with this one. But this second case, 57853, which occurred in Joplin, Missouri, this occurred on July the 8th, 2014, just last July, starting at 9:15. And basically, here's the story. We're in a neighborhood in Joplin. We've got a husband and wife. The husband's driving the Jeep, brand new Jeep, by the way. They're driving through their neighborhood, just after 9 p.m., and there's a neighbor who they don't know who's out walking his dog. Now, what the two parties don't know is the husband driving the Jeep is also a licensed pilot. The guy on the ground walking his dog is a pilot.
Oh.
So anyway, this guy flags them down and says, "Hey, get out of your car. Look at this object." Now, this object comes down, very low to the ground. It's teardrop shaped. It has multiple orange and red lights on it, and then all of these smaller blue lights covering the bottom of the craft. In fact, the main witness, the husband driving the Jeep, I have his name here somewhere. I may have given that to you.
It's,
John Cruzan,
yeah.
if I'm pronouncing that right, John Cruzan. He said the object was about 200 feet wide, completely silent, low flying. Now, he and his wife said that when the object dropped down to the ground level like that, and you've got 4 illustrations that I've sent you, and these are all illustrated by the witness, John Cruzan, that from his point of view and the wife, all of the neighborhood dogs began barking. You could just hear a chain reaction. Now, the other guy that had been out walking his dog, he said that he suddenly felt like he was in a vacuum, and he could physically, I believe, see his dog barking, but could not hear the dog. Oh. He just couldn't hear anything. And that must have been an intermittent thing going on, because as the story moves along, the object looks like it's going to land. It's going over some trees, some structures, and it's going toward, I believe it was a cow pasture. So they're thinking it's gonna land. So all of these people, husband, wife, and now the neighbor with the dog, they all get on into the Cruzan's Jeep, and they start heading off toward this cow pasture. So right when they arrive, close to it, all of a sudden the Jeep, there's transmission problems. The car is running, but it won't stay in gear. It won't stay in drive. It's like you're running in neutral. And then all of a sudden, vehicle warning lights, like buzzers, started going off. So John had a high-powered flashlight in the car, and very good one, I understand. And he shined this into the cow pasture, and no beam was going into the pasture. And they looked at the flashlight, and you could see that it was on, but it's like as the beam went out, it just immediately dulled down. It was definitely something was stopping that, from working. So they decided they couldn't see anything, so they kind of moved away from that area. And it took about 5 or 10 minutes for the car to, in drive to be able to work again. And they moved away from the area. They couldn't see or find anything. So they ended up turning around and going back. And as soon as they got back to that same cow pasture the second time, the transmission did the same thing. It went into like a neutral position, and buzzers are going off. Very strange.
Very
now, there is a follow-up to the story. Now, you have the 4 illustrations, correct?
Yes, I've been showing them, yeah.
Okay, because I'm not looking at the screen anymore. Okay, there is a 5th image with this case 57853 that within a... John was and his wife were both ill for the next 3 weeks. Wow. And John, they both had burns on their body, and I sent you the photo.
Yeah, we're showing it right now.
Of a severe burn with blisters on John's right arm.
That is crazy.
That's
now, I'm not
serious.
seeing a medical report, but in this case file, I'm seeing that John has a friend who's a doctor who took a look at it for him and simply said that it was a burn consistent with a laser injury.
Ooh.
And his wife, Tracy, has a burn on her back.
Was there...
And the only other...
laser,
there's a few other weird things to go with this case, but one is that since this case happened, 5 new witnesses have come forward reporting huge UFOs at ground level within 1.5 mile of that location.
And this was in Joplin, Missouri. Wow.
Joplin, Missouri. Yes.
Show me state.
Yeah, right. They showed. They showed. Now, what was? She said she had a burnt on her back. Was her clothes burnt, or just her back?
I believe just her back. I think if the clothes had been burnt, that would have been in the report that I looked at. But I can't be 100% on that.
Right, that's pretty fascinating.
I'd have to.
Yeah, and Roger, the gentleman that was there that was walking his dog that got into the Jeep with them, was the dog injured or burned, and or the other guy that was walking the dog that got in the car with the couple?
They were not.
Isn't that fascinating?
Right, and imagine the husband and wife at the scene hearing the dogs barking like a chain reaction in the neighborhood, and suddenly the neighbor with the dog can see his dog barking, but he can't hear anything.
Wow.
Yeah. No, I can see why
you
like
have
this
witnesses
stuff.
standing right next to each other, and they're both experiencing two different things.
Yeah, I said now I can see why you really love this stuff, because it is fascinating.
And you have to think way, way outside of the box.
Absolutely.
In other possibilities, time-space continuum,
Dimensions.
multiple dimensions simultaneously. All of these things you have to authentically look at, and it's not a woo-woo thing. It is science, and it's physics, and it's reality that most everyday people don't think or don't know to think like. That's what I think is fascinating, because dogs are so much more. If a laser hits a human, it's going to be bad, but because the dog is insulated with fur, and I don't know, there's just something. That's the kind of stuff that I love about this topic.
Mm-hmm. It's wild. These are just two cases I'm bringing up just because of the shortness of a show like this.
Right.
These are not isolated cases. One from 2014, one from 2015. They're not happening every single day.
Right.
But they're happening often enough that I could put them up, and show them, and the Joplin case for now has been closed out as a official unknown. And I think that area is just being, let's just say that we're studying that area there right now.
It makes you wonder what the beings from over there in the ships, it makes you wonder what they're studying, why they keep coming to this. Why is this a new hot spot? Or maybe it's an old hot spot and we're just finding out about it. Right.
Oh, yeah. Well, that whole region in Missouri, this goes back over the last year or two. We've gotten a lot of very large objects very close to the ground, just in that whole region right there.
I grew
just
up in
incredible.
That area. I grew up in southeast Kansas, so Joplin is very close, not just about an hour and a half away from where I grew up. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, we used to. I said when I was a kid, we used to see a lot of.
Oh yeah,
UFO
we did in North
activities.
Carolina. We saw a lot of it too. We'd throw potatoes and shit at it.
Well, Roger.
I remember the potato story.
Roger has brought us a story close to your guys' home, South Carolina, didn't you?
Okay.
Yeah, the next two cases again are related. One was the South Carolina case was just reported, and we're just now investigating it. Although it did occur April the 10th of 2014. This one I'll make it just kind of short. We've got the nearest town is McCormick, South Carolina,
right.
And they're it's a husband and wife. They're out fishing along Lake Strom Thurmond. And the wife looks up, and she just looks at this contrail, just a simple jet contrail. And as she's kind of looking away from it, something catches her eye to the right of that contrail, and it's like this circle that's moving across the sky. But she can see the left side of the object very well, but the right side of the object is translucent, like you're looking through water. And eventually, as the object moved alongside that contrail, it just eventually the entire object became invisible.
Yeah, it's cloaked.
Amazing. It's cloaked, right?
Yeah,
so we've seen. In fact, I think I might have mentioned one of these cases when I was on in October, but they keep popping up where people mention that when they're looking at the object, in 1 second you're looking at what looks like a three-dimensional object, and then all of a sudden this shimmering comes over it as though you're looking at it through water. And the shimmering process happens, and then boom, it's gone.
Yeah, it's cloaked.
So the second case, and we just featured this. This is going to be on the front page of the MUFON UFO Journal, which mails the first week of March, and it's case 59652 out of Vancouver, Washington. This was reported by a police officer who was on duty at the time in a patrol car, where he saw it and his partner did not see it. So he looks up, very simple story, he looks up into the sky and he sees this circular object that also looks very metallic, and it's crossing the sky from right to left. As it's crossing the sky from right to left, it's also gaining in altitude. And then it does this really weird thing. It starts to shimmer like you're looking through water, and then boom, in a blink of an eye, it just disappears.
Wow.
Just like it moved through some kind of a stargate or something, you know. So there's just 2 cases, and part of the work we're doing at MUFON right now, you might have heard about our new global UFO database.
Yes, yes.
And so they are fundraising for it right now, and I'm kind of organizing internally right now the archive team, trying to get more volunteers within MUFON to come into that to help. But we're starting to organize the files right now, because if you went to our website right now and tried to search for, you know, shimmering or translucent, it would be kind of difficult to pull these cases together. So we're going to try to look at just the good cases that were closed as an unknown, and then look at features of that case like the shimmering, the translucent, you know, the disappearing UFO, and put them all together, and hopefully for future researchers, that will be all in one area for you. It would be like going online and saying, I only want to see good cases closed as an unknown that were reported by a pilot.
Wow.
Boom. You know, they would all be there right in front of you. Maybe future researchers can draw something out of that, or they can, as I say, connect the dots, you know, into the future.
Great.
Yeah, and spot patterns. That's your, well, and I know where you're going. And part of it is spot patterns in each of the videos, and that link in a way that, you know, like A Beautiful Mind. Somebody's going to see like, oh my God, boom, 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 and then it's just going to explode thanks to MUFON.
Exactly. That's what we're hoping to do, and you know, I could just talk for hours and hours, case after case after case. I think it's better to give an audience some examples of what's going on out there.
Oh, yes.
And it's not being reported.
No, it's not.
Well, there's a lot of people that still, to this day, won't talk about it. It still surprises me with every, you know, television show, movies now that are so accessible and making you feel a little bit more normal, that people still don't like talking about it.
They do make you feel a little bit more normal and a little bit more comfortable to come out of the closet and talk about it. And at the exact same time, they scare the crap out of you, some of them. And it's like, it's the end of the world. Don't be nice to aliens. They're going to blow up Washington, D.C. Why would an alien do it? They've got so many more important things to do.
Hey, Roger, have you talked or heard about the Blink 182 co-founder, Tom DeLonge, that is really opening up about UFOs and aliens?
Oh, you know, I just pulled an article up on him the other night, and I think the phone rang. I think I got into like a paragraph or two into it, trying to see what this guy was saying, and I got distracted, so I didn't really get the gist of it, but I did see he was in the news recently.
And yeah, somebody brought that to my attention. I haven't really finished the whole article yet either, but I'd love to read what he has to say. What about the is it the Russia, or is it like somebody in the Obama administration is saying that, talking about the UFO, like he didn't keep the UFO files sealed or something like that?
Obama mentioned that there's an Area 51.
That was Podesta, who I believe is Obama's chief counsel, who just stepped down. We believe to work on the Hillary Clinton campaign, but he was Clinton's chief of staff also. And what's interesting, here's a guy who was a president's chief of staff and now chief counsel to our current president, who has publicly said that it is a goal of his to get the federal government to release everything they know about UFOs. So what got him into the news recently, this is right after he stepped down, he tweeted as he was leaving the White House, and nobody's sure, was he real serious? Was he kind of joking? But he did say that in his tweet, the one area where he failed was getting the federal government to reveal what they know about UFOs.
Wouldn't that be
So-
nice? Wouldn't that be nice?
You know what? You know what? I bet for real, and I'm not even being just like a weird psychic or woo-woo or any of that stuff. I really feel this way. I have a feeling it's going to be fact is stranger than fiction.
Absolutely.
When it finally does, and I don't think it'll ever all 100% come out. I just don't. That would cause world panic and pandemonium
Yes,
to
it
know
would.
that your government's doing weird stuff. That's way more outrageous than what some other beings from another planet or galaxy would be doing. I think it'll be fact is stranger than fiction. For me, it feels
Yep.
like it was real and he was sincere, and then he left it open to interpretation. And those of us, you know, that feel the way we feel in our heart, we get it, and the rest of them can go, oh, that was just nuts.
Kind of
Yeah.
reminds me like Barbara Streisand when she says Prince of Tides or whatever is not neither a prince or tides, now discuss. It's kind of like what he tweets it out there and says, and discuss.
I had one question regarding the government, and that is, we know that there's the existence of the Air Force TR-3B, which is sort of a triangle craft. How many sightings do you think that you see is actually one of those? And folks can Google TR-3B and see pictures of it.
Yeah, that comes up a lot. I think that when you see the maneuverability of these aircraft that people are seeing,
Yeah.
that we're calling UFOs, every time we do a comparison back and forth, the true unknowns, the true UFOs, are moving in ways that no piloted aircraft could move.
And there's no sound.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've seen the
That's when I saw it when I was a kid in my family. We saw it, never heard anything. We heard a small plane fly over
from a distance.
from a distance, but we never heard the.
Yeah, Roger, why do you think? I'm completely sincere because I totally believe in all of this, but I'm also a healthy skeptic. Why do you think there are certain people that are, quote, targeted or hunted by certain extraterrestrials and/or UFOs? What do you think that is? And I'm being 100% sincere here. What do you think that is with that situation?
Yeah, that's a really tough question. I've been asked that dozens of times because it looks like some people. Well, when you look at like alien abduction, if you look at that side of it, that you'll see that abductions tend to run in families.
I believe that.
From one generation to the next. Or why do certain individuals, maybe have more sightings in their lifetime than others? Mm-hmm. I don't know. It just seems to be so random out there, I really can't answer that. And anything I would say would just be off the top of my own head.
Yeah.
It would seem to be some kind of a targeting situation where they're actually able to scan humans, and maybe they have some type of study programs going on, and they have to tag you and keep track of you. I don't know.
We do that with,
I'm afraid I'm moving toward the Hollywood script,
but
when I try to...
Yeah, the vibration. The vibration.
Yeah, but I get that, and it does sound sort of like a Hollywood script, and it also feels like there could literally potentially be some truth in that hypothesis as well. But I'm wondering, little as an intuitive, I've seen ghosts, I've seen angels, I've seen dead people. That really effed me up a little bit when I was growing up. I didn't have anybody I could talk to about it. So I'm wondering, how do some of these people who are hunted or who have seen multiple crafts and that sort of thing, I wonder how they cope with it. Like when you see a ship 1 second, the next second it's cloaked. You see it there, It goes up 500 feet, it comes down, you get lasers on your arm, you have proof of it, but then nobody believes you. I mean, that's got to be really
tough.
hard to wrap your brain around in a community where most people don't believe it. And then you guys come in, Roger, and the MUFON people come in who are giving them a safe place to really try to process that.
Yeah, I mean, there is not a week that goes by that we don't have somebody coming forward, the senior citizens, let's just say, coming forward saying, you know what, I got to get this out. I got to get this happened to me, because they're watching these things, on TV, I mean, I've had a very intuitive life myself and kept everything to myself.
Yeah.
Because I realized that these things were not happening to people around me.
Right.
And suddenly, the 80s and 1990s, we get, drenched with all these TV shows about, paranormal things happening, and suddenly people like us are sitting upright and going, hey, wait a minute, I experienced that. Somebody stole my story,
Right.
and then you come to realize that it's happening to a lot of people around the country. It's not just you. And it is very reflective in MUFON, especially this TV show has, in addition to things like our website and just the general marketing we do, but having a network TV show, we're bracing ourselves for the week of April 3rd.
Yep.
As much as I want that show to debut and go on, we know that our phone lines are going to be ringing, our email boxes are going to be filling up,
busy.
and people are going to want to give testimony.
Beautiful.
Well, before we get out of here, I want to say that, first of all, thank you for being on the show, because, again, you always... You never disappoint.
Yeah, you always bring something that's that extra mile that Tony's listeners eat up, and I do too.
They love it. They love it. And I'm looking in the chat room, and this actually makes sense. Chris says many people have UFO encounters or in the dark and don't know where to go, and actually have never heard of MUFON until they get the encounter, and then they start researching it. But what is MUFON doing for event-wise and getting out there a little more
awareness?
Yeah, I mean, the television show is
brilliant.
It's brilliant. It is. But what else you guys going to be doing to promote, to get out there more?
Yeah, the first thing I would plead with people is to go to MUFON.com and sign up. I think the cheapest sign up is $35 a year.
Oh, that's good.
And that gets you the MUFON Journal. You get like the exclusive, stories every month. And I'll generally run the cream of the crop. The best stuff I've got gets into the journal before anybody gets their hands on it. In addition to that, we also have, there's a way on the website to sign up for our newsletter. And that's just one click, type in your email account. The newsletter is changing. I'm redeveloping it right now. I've had nothing to do with it in the past. But in the next, give me about 4 or 5 more weeks, and that newsletter is going to come out once every 2 weeks.
Oh, great.
So that's another way, and that will be kind of teasing some of our most interesting material that's going on all across MUFON. And then within the newsletter, you'll be able to click and go over to a web page, and read the entire story. Let's see. We do have our MUFON Symposium coming up, which is in Irvine, California, in September. I don't have the exact dates right here in front of me, but we're going to be looking at opening new doors in like industry, academia, and research.
That's great.
Actually asking ourselves the question, what can we do? Here we are in ufology right now, and what do we need to change, to grow? And things like the new global, UFO database. Mm-hmm. But we're trying to get more, that would be great to have academic programs on the study of UFOs happening at universities around the country. So we're asking academia, how can we help you? How can we get this started? I think a lot of that comes down to, the research dollars that they're going to need to get things like that started. But it's going to be a great symposium. Of course, the TV, 12 episodes, so that will be May, June, time, ending in July sometime.
Right.
And over the summer, hopefully, I'll be working on season 3.
There you go. We hope so too. I know you.
You know there will be one.
Yeah.
Oh, there's got to be.
No doubt.
You guys have too many cases to talk about, so I think you have.
I would never run out of episode ideas for these people.
That's what we love.
Well, Roger, like I said, you always have an open door here policy for us with you, because you are welcome. This is so much fun, and you always bring the game to us, and because most of us don't get to hear about this every day like you do. So come back anytime you want.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. Lots of fun, guys. Appreciate it.
All
Thanks,
right,
Roger.
Well, Roger, thank you. Make
Thanks,
sure
Roger.
you go to MUFON.com
And join.
Yeah, and join.
Yeah, come on.
It's it's $35 for 1 year.
30.
$30 for 1 year. I mean, come on.
That's so good, and that just covers the cost of
That's
them
$2.50
continuing
a
to do
month.
the great work
Yeah,
that they
It's
do.
cheaper
you
than a
guys.
latte. Come on.
I know, right? Pretty much.
I don't know.
All right, Roger. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Roger.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, wow.
You know what I realized?
What?
That this, as all truth be told shows are, it's with Cynthia. She goes in and she literally puts the meat suit on the bare bones of something that's scary. She takes the mysterious and the unknown and she makes it known and familiar. And Roger Marsh from MUFON does the exact same thing. He takes this gigantic universe of, oh, there's a scary object in the sky, or I was raped by an alien.
Right.
I'm being facetious, but he takes it and he puts it, the bare bones there, the structure of it, and then gives information to really demystify it in a way that's educating a lot of people. And that's what I love about this show.
He the man. He the man.
He
Well,
is.
Walt and Eddie, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you
My
guys
pleasure.
being here. And go to, and I made this up right here, truthbetoldwebtv.com. You can see all the upcoming guests on our show. If you missed a show, there's all the YouTube, I think, shows that are there. You can see Eddie's, I forgot what it's called. It's been so long.
Unlock the universe within.
There we go. Do you have anything today? Do you have any?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, then we won't put that pressure on you today. Well, next time you're going to have
Oh,
one,
I'll have
'cause
some.
people are
I got my outlines. I did my homework.
okay. All right. All right. Well, we thank you guys. Please support us, but just by coming to our show every Friday. Well, when we can, because the last couple of Fridays we've been kind of lacking. But please go to truthbetoldwebtv.com and follow us on Facebook and on Twitter. Just go to On Air with Tony on Twitter and join us there. So, all right. Well, we're out of here, and have a great weekend. We'll see you next time.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Absolutely.